Bienvenidos. Spring Summer Episode 7, Descartes. Welcome to a philosophy episode, and we hope that you will enjoy thinking about life and living life. And, one of Descartes' famous sayings is, I think, therefore I am. So he's very much in favor of the thinking person. So what do you think about that?
Was that really after him? I think I'm therefore I am, I think. Damn, that makes me, I don't know. I think I am, therefore I am.
No, wait a minute. It's very simple. I think, therefore I am.
I think therefore
For example, I dance, therefore I am.
I don't know, that confuses
teach,
me. That confuses me to infinity and beyond. I'm having this feeling that I'm currently studying philosophy online, and you're my teacher, and I'm learning about Descartes. Who was this guy? Who was this dude? Was a Catholic, right? But I don't know. Who was he?
Well, he is a 17th century French philosopher and a mathematician and a scientist and a Catholic. He invented analytical geometry. So before Descartes, geometry was one subject and algebra was another one, but he is considered the mathematical father of analytical geometry.
Oh, you want me to do math? I can't.
What?
Do you want me to do math? I was very bad at school in any math related. I couldn't add 2 and 2, but I think I am therefore. I like that. I heard that before, but I couldn't understand what it's all about. If I think I am, okay, what if I don't think I am, and where would that lead? And now I know.
Well, see, that is why we are in Petroma therapy. We're trying to unscramble different interesting, noodles that are in our head.
Yeah, but from what you have said, from what you have just said, I can deduce that postulates that if you can form thoughts, you must therefore exist in order to form the thought, right? So okay.
Wait a minute. You got like 20 things going on. Let's just back it up.
Okay.
So, Descartes wondered. He sat down, and he said, I'm going to put everything aside. So imagine you're sitting at a table, and at the table is everything you believe in.
Mm-hmm.
Food, drink, God, faith, morality, marriage, bicycles. Suppose on this table that you have is everything you believe in.
Right.
And I have my table here. It's everything I believe in. What Descartes did was he took his hand and he swept off the table. He said, let's put everything aside. He just paused a second. He said, I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure about this. I'm not sure. He said, let's just put it all aside. He said, what is the one thing that I am sure of? And he goes, aha. It is that I am thinking. I am a thinking being. And that is the foundation of Descartes' philosophy, the primacy of the individual being able to think. Now, that aha moment is very much like Siddhartha, who went on to become, the Buddha, sat under the Bodhi tree, and he sat there, he was a rich prince, and then he decided, I'm just going to give up all the sensual pleasures of life, women, music, song, go out of my father's land and just wander around to learn about life. And he sat under this tree, and he had this aha moment. So that's Siddhartha. But back to Descartes, he swept everything off his table, and he said, what is the one thing I know? I know that I am a thinking being. So he was a mathematician, he was a philosopher, he happened to be a Catholic, but in order to spend a lot of time thinking, you need a benefactor. You need someone to sponsor you. You can't just sit around and think. Everybody needs a job, right? I mean, you can't just sit around all day and think and make patrolotherapy episodes, right? You have to go to work. So, just like Van Gogh had his sponsor, his brother Theo, and just as Mozart had his sponsor, Franz, what's his name, some kind of Prussian king or European guy. These creative geniuses need a sponsor. So Descartes' a man, and he met the Queen of Sweden, who became fascinated with him, and she said, well, I think I'm going to sponsor you. Why don't you come over here and like think your stuff, and I'll give you a place to stay and a pen and food and drink, and like you just like work on your stuff. So that's kind of Descartes 101.
Listen, yesterday we made an episode on self-awareness, right? And now you say that basically this is a tool. I think therefore I am is kind of a tool which helps you to reach that self-awareness, right? And that's what he meant, probably, that he reached that self-awareness when he made his famous statement, I think therefore I am. Now, if I am in front of the mirror, right, and I recognize myself in the mirror, and does that mean that I am self-aware because I think I recognize myself in the mirror, and therefore I am in reality?
Well, that's the physical you. Like when you look into the mirror, you see sandy hair, you see brown eyes, you see a square jaw, whatever your physical characteristics are. You see the physical you. But as we have talked before, when I look at old photographs of when I was 8 years old or 18 or 28 or 38, and I look at those photographs, I can feel who I was back then. So that's the essential me. So Descartes has gone out of favor now in the 21st century.
Why?
Mind-body dualism. A lot of people, well, they like Descartes, but they say we're not two separate beings. We're not separate mind and separate body. We're a unified whole. So it's like related to quantum physics or something. Okay, back to the mirror. You're looking in the mirror and you see yourself. Does that prove that you exist?
Well, because I don't know. I'm asking you because this confuses me, right? Is that the only thing that Descartes was sure of, absolutely sure of, that he thinks and therefore he is?
No. What he says is, I suspend everything. So he starts with the doubt. Number one is the doubt. You accept that you put everything in doubt.
Okay.
Physical, metaphysical, personal, family, relationship, objects. You put everything into doubt.
So basically you call it illusion, everything you call illusion, right?
Well, he doesn't call it illusion. That's like
if you doubt
Buddhism
it,
stuff. But he just suspends it. Yeah, he suspends it and said, let's just take this off the table and let's just be. I am being. What am I being? Oh, I am thinking. I am a thinking being. So that's what he does. He doesn't use that to reach nirvana or enlightenment. He's not trying to go anywhere. He's just trying to figure out what does he know. And the only thing he knows is that he's a thinking being.
You know, it makes me think of Kant. Kant is very difficult to understand. I don't know why. I love philosophy. I don't understand it at all, but I like it. I like it immensely. And Kant, Immanuel Kant, German philosopher, he said once that about time, that time is a purely subjective condition.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Right, and is a pure intuition.
Yeah.
And Kant lived 200 years ago, and Descartes, when did he die? 400? You said 15 in 16th century?
No, Descartes was born 1596 in France. He died 1650 in Sweden. He's considered a 17th century philosopher.
Imagine you've
he's
been born.
Also a mathematician.
Yeah.
So he has good credentials. The dude can think. If you come up with all this math stuff, you got credentials. You're not just some guy sitting at the train station, with a tortured soul.
Mm.
Well, he was also kind of tortured by his thoughts, but anyhow.
What if it is not
Yeah,
tortured?
Immanuel Kant.
What if it's holy?
Say it again.
What if his soul was not tortured? It was holy sorrow and mortal carcass.
Well, Descartes also believed in God as the unmoved mover that put everything into being. So Descartes is a mathematician, as was Pascal. They were mathematicians, so they knew how to think, and then they used their thinking to explore metaphysical.
Can you imagine such man was born 400 years ago, and we still remember him, and he's the founder of the philosophical teaching, modern philosophy, basically. Can you imagine?
Yes.
Isn't that a miracle? Because I'm sure nobody will remember me in 500 years. I mean, I doubt you'll remember me in 20. But Descartes.
Well, the interesting thing about...
And because we remember him because he said just 4 words. I think, therefore I am. That's all he said. Basically, that's how everybody knows him. Why? I mean, it doesn't make any sense, does it? Maybe it doesn't.
It makes great sense.
Really? Maybe it's just me. I could be wrong.
Because when we read books, we think about, like, we talk about Anna Karenina, or we talk about a poem by Gerard Manley Hopkins, or, for example, when our friend Train Mark goes out and takes videos of trains, he's thinking about the history, where the train came from, what is Mark is a thinking being. So he's not just wandering around in nature staring blindly like the animals. The animals walk around and they see a train going by, but they don't start ruminating on it. Our friend Mark and myself, and also I think you're interested a little bit in trains. When we see trains, we think of trains in songs, like Johnny Cash's songs, or we think about trains in literature, Tolstoy and whatever.
You
so
mentioned
when the animals are walking around, they're not aware of what in general, some people think that the animals are not aware like humans are. And one of the unique things about being a human is that we're aware that we're aware.
Oh, that's a very disputable. I wouldn't be sure of it, because we are not aware. Basically, we're sleeping. That's I'm absolutely sure, especially of late. You know what happened to me just a month ago? It was Sunday, and I was going to, don't remember where, but although in sleep, I drove my car to the office, and only when I with that key to the lock, I accidentally woke up and I thought, where am I? Why am I here? Because Sunday I was going to the hospital, I don't remember where, and I found myself in the office because, like Pavlov's dog, the instinct led me there. And I see many people like me around, so many, you can't imagine. So when you say that the rhesus monkey, for instance, they're not self-aware, I would dispute that. Sorry to interrupt.
No, I'm just saying everything is Hegelian dialectic, like Hegel. Oh. There's the thesis, then there's the antithesis, then there's the synthesis, which becomes a new thesis, then there's the end. So philosophy is an ongoing process. Now, the word philosophy comes from philo, Sophia. Philo means love of, and Sophia means wisdom. So philosophia is the love of wisdom, or the search for wisdom. And it is an ongoing quest. And as different people come into the game, whether it's Descartes or Hegel or, whoever, Sartre, or you, or Mark, or whoever, we're contributing to the story of philosophy. How does that make you feel?
I think I'm trying to be there but I'm trying to look smart. I'm trying to look smart, and I think if I doubt everything, so does that look like an illusion to you? Is simulation? It's a very popular word lately. If it's a simulation, whom is it fooling? I mean, there has to be a benefactor.
No. The thing about doubting everything is that you are aware of your being. You're sitting, and you put everything on the table, and then you sort of push the table aside to see what there is other than all this stuff. So Descartes didn't say all this stuff is illusion. He, like our topic today is Descartes, he just said, if we suspend all this stuff, objects, material things, morals, whatever, let's just put that on the side and just explore the concept of pure being. So ontology is the concept of being. It's the branch of philosophy that deals with being.
I probably
never
reached that level of awareness. Maybe it's not just given to me, or maybe it'll be given later. But really, you mentioned Anna Karenina, not to change the subject, but the books, basically. Did he write any books?
Sure.
Did Descartes wrote any books?
Yes, he's a prolific writer.
About mathematics?
Yeah, it's like the meditations on on mathematics, the meditations on philosophy, like books and books and books and books and books.
That surprises me.
He was a prolific writer.
Yeah,
because he had a benefactor who allowed him the time. He didn't have to go to work. He was the Queen of Sweden. I was going to say the Queen of Speedo. That's a Freudian slip. The Queen of Speedo. The Queen of Sweden.
Yeah, that's different.
Invited him to come there, and she was going to sponsor him. So since he didn't have to worry about the daily grind of like we go to work and come back, we go to work and we come back. I mean, there's so many philosophers out there that don't have time to think because they're just like punching their time card or riding in elevators. But back to Descartes, he was a prolific writer, not only on mathematics but also on theology and also on philosophy. And the guy was like always writing stuff.
Yeah, that surprises me most because he was a mathematician and philosopher at the same time, which is incredible.
Yes.
It's like cold and hot.
School,
our North Pole and South Pole at the same time. It's just things don't up.
Well, I know that when I was in school, algebra, the way algebra works is one way the mind works. Then geometry is based on a different hemisphere of the brain. It's shapes. So I was very, very good at geometry, like spatial analysis, but I was not very good in algebra. Mm-hmm. So there's left brain and right brain. And if you say you weren't very good at math at school, you probably were more comfortable with certain types of math.
I wasn't.
I mean, I loved geometry because like it was shapes, and like that later became a fascination with me in the world of art, just the world of shapes and
sizes. Yeah.
I was always like coloring. I was always coloring. I remember sitting at my desk. I had this like super cute, amazing, handsome geometry teacher. And like he would come by to help you to see what you're doing, and like I'm a 15, 16-year-old girl. I'm like coloring with my pencils.
When I'm trying to remember.
And then he asked me if I'd like to go to the. What was it like when you were studying in high school?
I wasn't good at math or geometry. The only thing I remember from geometry is a triangle. But I thought I was good at philosophy, but when I read Descartes, for instance, and his ideas, I don't understand a shit. Sorry to use this word, and I think these people. Sorry.
Well, the thing is, your mind is too full.
No, it's too empty.
You have to empty your mind.
It's already empty.
Too full. You got
it's
too
been
much
empty
stuff
for the past I don't know how many years, but. That's the problem. I cannot. I read the words, but I don't understand them. It's like fourth dimension. I've seen this video on YouTube where they tried to explain what fourth dimension is, or the fifth. I understand 1, 2, 3, okay, no problem, but they explain the fourth, they draw it, they explain it with words, everything. I don't understand. I see it, but I don't understand. It's probably there's a block in my mind. Maybe it's not.
You don't understand it intellectually, but if you close your eyes, you can feel the fourth dimension. You can feel what time is. When you're in a hurry, you know what that feels like. When you're late to something, you know what that feels like. So you probably have a strong sense of sensate learning, learning through feelings and experiences.
Well, that's one way to put it. Yeah, I like it, and I couldn't say it like this, but yeah, um, that's
Or like when you're musing, M-U-S-E. The word muse
Yeah,
means you're kind of
I know
calling
what
on
it
the
is.
muses. Like you're sitting there having a glass of wine, or maybe I'm having a margarita and I'm sort of flipping through a book, or I'm looking at some art. I'm kind of musing. I'm kind of open to ideas. Like that is my creative time. I mean, do you feel that you have more interesting thoughts when you've had a couple glasses of wine?
I feel best when I don't have any thoughts, really. When we've just discussed that before about meditation state, when you don't have to think, that is my nirvana. Okay, maybe it's just for me. I don't know how
Yeah,
other people work.
I hear you. Yeah,
Really? So I'd
no,
prefer when I was
it
younger, I
is.
thought of the more I know is the better. But now I know that ignorance is the bliss. I guess that's the words they used in Matrix, the movie from 20 ways. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Ignorance is
I
a
mean,
bliss
we all
because
have.
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say ignorance is a bliss. However awful this sounds, because we are not animals, we have to think that by the way, that's we go back to this Descartes works. I think therefore I am. So as humans we have to think, but at the same time we suffer because we think too much, maybe because we are never in now. We are always in the
Yes,
past or in the future. See?
exactly.
I'm smart.
Like
Or maybe
right
I
now,
think I
I'm
am.
living in. I you're gonna get a prize.
Thank
Uh,
you.
when right now I'm living in Dallas, Texas, and I'm aware of someone that I know in another state who has just gotten sad news about their mother-in-law just got diagnosed with cancer. So I don't know the mother-in-law. I'm not near that person. It's not even in the same state. It's just the fact that I know it has caused me some concern. So the world of the animals are wandering around doing different things, like, oh, here's some food, let me eat this. They're like, wow, this is a good place to sleep. I think I'll go over here. Like, wow, that's a cute rabbit. I'm going to go chase that rabbit. I mean, I think that animals have some thinking going on, but they're not going to suffer by knowing about something that is like so far away. Like the news just briefly came to me, and I have spent a little bit of time thinking about that, wondering, like, well, is the person going to live? Does prayer really work? Like, what does this mean? And like, how long will the person live? Like, I didn't even want to think all that stuff. I don't want to think it at all.
Let's agree to disagree,
I
because
really
we,
don't.
we can't say for sure about animals that they think this or that. But the only thing that distinguishes animals and men is that they don't have a sense of humor, I think, right? Animals. I always.
Wait a minute. Did you just call? Was that a Freudian slip? Did you just call women
No,
animals?
no, I didn't say that. I meant the animals and the humans. The difference is that they don't have a sense of humor. I mean, animals. And other than that, we
Oh
are very
yeah,
much the
yeah,
same, right?
yeah. Well,
Mhm.
uh, you know, Shakespeare has just a fabulous set of lines. What a piece of work is man, noble in being, the highest of the animals, but what to me is this quintessence of dust. You
You,
know, we are the apex of the animal world, but yet we are still the quintessence of dust, and we're just players on a stage that have our lines, and then we exit, and that's it.
I, pro-
So
I
I
probably,
think that's I think that's Hamlet.
yeah, probably I should buy a book. I should probably buy Shakespeare plays or poems and read it and maybe remember a few lines just to look again mm,
Yeah,
smarter.
I think Hamlet would be good,
Yeah,
and I think that Julius Caesar would be good. It's about the betrayal of friends and power, and I mean, do whatever you want. I mean, you have free will.
yeah. Thank you. It's just that the poem or the play should rhyme, right? But they don't, and that always confuses me. When I see a poem which does not rhyme, it looks like a prose to me.
Well, because you have a very, no offense, you have a very narrow understanding of what poetry is. You have the end rhyme, but there's split rhyme and jommed lines,
Yeah.
and like just fabulous poetry that the sound of it, like, you know, Robert Burns has this poem, The Rose. My love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. And so is my melody, you know, da 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 da. Like every rhyme, every word at the end rhymes.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Yeah,
that's
that's
not
how I
very
like it.
exciting.
Oh, I like it
But
because
like,
okay.
you like it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
like it because there is music. When I'm reading a poem, I'm looking at music in it. And music always there is always a symmetry in the music. It has to rhyme. There's got to be symmetry, and there isn't in Shakespeare, for instance. If there is not
Of
symmetry,
course there is.
there
Oh my
is.
gosh, I'm
Maybe I
just
should
gonna
buy a
jump
book.
up and
Definitely, I'm gonna order
smack you.
off the Amazon.
Well, maybe we can do another episode on poetry and rhyme and kind of wrap up this episode and tell our audience adieu.
I would love to not to tell audience adieu, but I would love to have next episode about poetry and rhyme, and yeah, and I wish to all our listeners, to think, right? Therefore, they think.
Or
They think who
okay,
you are,
very good.
so that they
Adios
think
for
who
now.
you are. Bye bye.